Hello, I'm Dawn Durham, and welcome to PaTTANpod. I want to assure all of you who are listening, PaTTANpod and the entire PaTTAN system remains dedicated to providing professional development to educators and support for families and students during these unprecedented times. Today, we're excited to welcome Pam Emery from the Pennsylvania Department of Education to talk with us about career-ready skills. Pam, thanks for joining PaTTANpod.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here today.
If we could just start off, what does the department mean when they say career-ready skills?
The Pennsylvania career-ready skills are Pennsylvania's social and emotional learning skills. So when we think about social emotional learning skills, we understand that they're skills that are learned through a process where kids and adults alike acquire and apply knowledge, attitudes, and skills to understand and manage their emotions, set and achieve positive goals, feel and show empathy for others, establish relationships, and make good decisions. So when we think about that, and we think about some of our daily interactions with others, some of the things that you might see in expressing us and showing social emotional skills would be something like maybe asking a coworker or a partner or whatever how they are, and then really taking the time to listen and respond to them. Things like nonverbal communication can also be representative of social emotional learning, such as waiting for someone to cross the street before moving through an intersection in your car, letting someone in front of you in a line. These are skills that are learned from early childhood through adulthood. And specifically, the Pennsylvania career-ready skills are organized into a continuum of skills or framework. And the skills, they progress in complexity based on the age of the student. The skills are organized into three big buckets or domains of social self-awareness and self-management, establishing and maintaining relationships, and social problem-solving skills. And then when you think about those buckets, they're organized by grade level bands of pre-K and K, grades 1 through 5, 6 to 8, and 9 through 12. And I think it's important to note that these skills are essential in school and in life. When we think about teaching and learning, we realize that the process of education is really a social process. So they're really not an add-on, they're really critical to success for students and for teachers to be successful in reaching and engaging students. So the department recognizes that the skills, when they're taught and used by children during the school day, they improve student engagement, academic progress, resilience, and relationships, and they decrease things like conduct problems and mental health issues. And additionally, our department recognizes the importance of our students learning the skills and being able to apply them in a workplace. Our Commonwealth employers have consistently told us that and asked us how we provide our children with the pathways to employability skills. They're looking for things like teamwork, communication, collaboration, empathy, goal setting, resilience in the workplace. And by integrating these career-ready skills into daily teaching and learning, our students become better students. They're more engaged in their learning, but they're also ready for their adult life. Hence, the name of the skills as career-ready skills, which I think sometimes can be misunderstood, but clearly everything that we do in schools is preparing our kids for their adult life, for their careers, and that's what department means as career-ready skills.
I think mentioning that, it goes from early childhood all the way up through adulthood, that these skills can be acquired and applied at all different age bands and grade levels, as you had discussed. And I think some of that piece is, active listening, nonverbal communication, good social skills, and really balancing our social and emotional learning skills, I think is, as you had said, such essential life skills. And it kind of leads me into my next thought is, we are in definitely unusual times for our families, for our students, for our schools. And when we think about this continuity of education, and we continue to build, implement, and modify these plans, how will these 21st century skills be of use to our students now in the current situation? We talked, and you alluded to quite a bit regarding the future, that these are for future employment skills. But what about now in the situation we're in with this at-home learning and the current environment we're living in?
So whether our students are in classrooms in brick and mortar schools or they're connected virtually, the pathway to teaching and learning continues to be social interactions. So as schools create and refine their continuity of education plans, the social process of education should be an integral part of those plans, because now more than ever, all students need the social connectedness of our teachers, family, and friends. They need to feel that they are really a bigger part of a whole. And this connection not only allows for, but it requires using and practicing those social, emotional, career-ready skills. The how, or the process for using and practicing the skills, may look slightly different, but the why really does remain the same. So when we think about that, how can this be achieved virtually? Most virtual meetings that I've been a part of and continue to be a part of, such as Zoom or Google Classrooms, they have the opportunity for breakout rooms, chat, etc. So I consider the virtual learning model students across the country are experiencing as a really great opportunity for teachers to use and practice these career-ready skills and the learning activities that they create. So if we think about that, and I know this for a fact because my husband is a school principal and we're both working from home. So occasionally I hear some of the conversations that he has with his teachers about the virtual activities that they're creating. And I understand that they're working really hard to continue to utilize those social emotional learning skills. Many of them are using student check-ins or sending daily notes as a part of their virtual practices. Others are using morning meetings with their classes where they can build community and do check-ins to see how it's going for their students. At the elementary level, I know teachers are also reading a book or showing a video and then providing opportunities for their students to discuss the social emotional skills or practices of the characters that they're viewing or hearing about. Games and team building activities are also a really fun way to build skills, because even though kids aren't together in a classroom, we know that they still really need to have fun and be connected. And that demonstrating that caring atmosphere that teachers are so able to create is still really critical. So something simple as a sock day or a hat day or a joke of the day just helps to set the stage and relieve stress and promote these skills.
I think it's so important that we mention, and I didn't think of this, and I'm so sorry I haven't before we talked, but even though we're through this social distancing and we are apart, school and education still is very much social, as you had indicated. And I think that this is a good time to be teaching some of those skills in a virtual reality situation, a virtual environment, which we know is happening more and more even before our current situation. So it is a good time to be thinking about and teaching from our earliest learners all the way up to our young adults. How do we engage in this environment? How do we engage in this space that we're currently in? Now, let me ask you this, because we do have continuity of education and we have our students at home, what can families be doing to support these career-ready skills?
So we know that our families are the backbone of social emotional learning for their children. They're the ones that are teaching their children to share toys, to use their words to express their emotions. They're modeling those skills and behaviors at those early, from birth on really, those early preschool years. And so their continued practices of promoting and modeling these skills are really critical to supporting the skills taught by school and are more important than ever now in this current learn at home environment. So having children at home during the school day really provides parents with additional opportunities to model and use these skills on a regular basis. And I understand that parents are now balancing so much. Many parents are worried about unemployment. They're experiencing financial difficulties, but they still have their kids home all day with them. So trying and using these skills provides a way to relieve some of that anxiety and stress that families are feeling. Simple things can be done. Families can conduct family meetings where some of these career-ready skills are discussed in the context of their family interactions. Parents can also look at the specific continuum of skills to decide which ones their child has acquired and which ones they might need to work on with them. Again, games and activities can be used to practice the skills. They enable families to have fun together while practicing. Something like let's make a deal, some version of that can be utilized and discussed as a family so that kids that want to do different things at the same time can come to some resolution. The Career Ready Skills Toolkit provides a wealth of resources that enable families to support the efforts of the school at home. And also it's important to keep that SEL school connection going. So parents should try to communicate directly with their child's teacher to determine which skills they're using during their instructional time. And this is not only for elementary students, this is for our high school kids, our middle schoolers. We know that our kids are social animals. They crave that social interaction. And so within the toolkit, there are activities and there are resources for high schoolers, middle schoolers, within each one of the large buckets that I talked about earlier of self-awareness and self-management, social problem solving, and relationship building. So specific activities and resources for parents can be found specifically in the family engagement section of the Career Ready Skills Toolkit. And the toolkit can be accessed by typing the PA Career Ready Skills Toolkit into your browser and going to that family engagement resources section. In addition, the Office for Safe Schools, which is where I'm based at Pennsylvania Department of Ed as a consultant, has assembled specific resources to address social emotional learning, mental health, and more during this COVID time. And they can be accessed on the PDE Office for Safe Schools webpage under the COVID-19 resources alert. So there's an awful lot out there. Sometimes I worry that there's too much, but it does allow parents to pick and choose. And when you point out specific resources, you help to narrow that overwhelming, wow, there are all these things out here, what should I be doing? So those are some of the suggestions that I have for families. And I can't thank them enough because they're now doing double duty under really stressful times.
They certainly are. And as you had said, families are the backbone to social emotional learning. And I think that's so key to hold on to and to really think about that. And as you had said, there are games, activities, and just daily life events that happen in our home in which we could be modeling and practicing these career ready skills. And I just want to emphasize again, if we were just to head to the internet and look up PA Career Ready Skills Toolkit, we'll have a wealth of resources built for families. And as you had mentioned, very specific resources for this time that we're in. So I think that's so helpful. And I'm hoping that the listeners out there will go ahead and access those materials, because that is something that we want to hold on to now and later on when we're outside of this pandemic level situation. So thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that. And Pam, I thank you so much for the work that you and your team do and for joining us on this program to help showcase these career ready skills, how they're applicable now, but even more so how they're applicable in the future to prepare for employment. As those employers are sharing with us, this is what we're looking for when kids come out of school. So thank you so much for your time today. We so appreciate it.
Thank you. It's really been a pleasure having this opportunity to talk with you today.
Thank you to all of you in the field. You were an inspiration to your students, to your families, and to all of us during these times. A special thank you to John Ragsdale for producing this podcast. We'll see you next time on PaTTANpod. Stay safe, be well.